Max, are you revved up for the next raid, or do you feel like Ekko got weaker and Method need a tier 2 with the new Rooster to become competitive? I keep getting this question. I think the community's perception of Ekko getting significantly weaker because of those players changing guilds is wrong. Like, I think Ekko's going to be as good as they were last year. They always have a chance to win. They're super good. You guys acting like there's some kind of like power struggle yet. I don't like, you don't even know who replaced those players in Ekko. I think it's like vastly overstated. Like, for example, I feel like if you were to poll the community as to like going into last year, like who could win, Method or Ekko, probably be like 90% of people would think Ekko would win. Or more, right? And they would have been right. There's a pretty big gap between those two last year. And then going into this tier, purely because of those few players changing guilds, I feel like if you were to poll the community, I'm kind of making it up. It feels like maybe 60 or 70% of people would guess that Ekko would win, and like 30 or 40 would guess that Method would win. I'm making that up because obviously this hasn't happened, but that seems to be the vibe from what I've seen in people asking me that question over and over again. And in my opinion, I don't think I would have voted any differently going into this tier. I don't think Method has any better chance of beating Ekko this tier than they did the previous tier, right? They could always win. They could beat us. Method could beat us, right? You never go into a tier underestimating anyone, more so because you don't really think about any other guild when you go into a tier. You just play as good as you can play, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. But I don't think it changes, like, literally anything. The thing that actually separates those guilds, player skill is so important, but leadership and, like, making strats and, like, doing the stuff you need to do to win is still something that Method players, like they didn't get Mirez, they didn't get Scripe, they didn't get Roger. They got players that play in Ekko a lot, which has a lot of value, but you don't know who's replacing those people in Ekko, right? Like in our guild, for example, we have people who are like Kingflies. An example of what that could mean is like Kingfly didn't actually raid a lot because he was just the person that we could trust to actually be our third Warlock and our second Shadow Priest and our like 3 other classes, which is really rare. But because of that, you're never really the first of something because you're the one that can play them all, so you don't get to raid a lot. So if we lost like 3 or 4 players like they did, that would just mean King flies in all the time, which is great. Do you know what I mean? So like you don't even know who's the next person up and like how much of a fall off it is, and they still have the structure, the consistency, the experience doing this and how to solve these problems at a Race to World First level, which there are thousands of every hour. And you guys are acting like a few people change guilds that are not a part of that process, really, and something's going to majorly change. It's just a fundamental misunderstanding. It's like reacting to sports news, like basketball players getting traded and not really understanding how the race works. Not to, like, rain on your parade, because I know there are some of you, clearly, from the way that you type, that are like, oh my god, it's finally going to happen, the 3-horse race or whatever. And maybe it will, right? It certainly could. But I think you're overrepresenting what has happened.